Thomas and Friends, making tracks to great destinations.
Dear Christopher, here is your friend Thomas the Tank Engine. He wanted to come out of his station yard and see the world. These stories tell you how he did it. I hope you will like them, because you helped me to make them. Your loving Daddy.
The island of Sodor is surrounded by beautiful blue sea. It has fields of green and sandy yellow beaches. There are rivers, streams, and lots of trees with birds singing. There are windmills and a coal mine, and docks where visitors to the island arrive. The island also has lots and lots of railway lines. Who's that puffing down the track? It's Thomas! Hello, Thomas!
Hello, everybody! Welcome to the island of Sodor.
Today on the island of Sodor, we find out what happens when Murdoch wishes for some peace and quiet. And we watch what happens when Percy tries out his new whistle. But first, Thomas has a special to collect. It was a beautiful day on the island of Sodor. And it was Lady Hat's birthday. She was having a special party. There were cakes and balloons and even a merry-go-round. But most exciting of all was the brass band. It was coming from the mainland to play at the party. Sir Topham Hatt came to Tidmouth Sheds.
Thomas, you're to collect the brass band.
Thank you, sir.
James and Gordon were upset. They wanted to collect the brass band themselves. Thomas puffed happily across the island and into Knapford Station. The brass band climbed aboard Thomas, and he raced away. But Thomas was so excited, he pulled away too soon. The tuba player was left behind. Thomas steamed off to Maithwaite Station, and the brass band assembled on the platform. Suddenly, the band leader cried out,
Where's the tuba player? We can't play without him.
No one knew where the tuba player was.
I'm sorry, sir. I must have left him behind.
Thomas raced back to Knapford Station, but the tuba player wasn't at Knapford Station. He was waiting for Bertie the bus. Bertie pulled up beside the tuba player.
Can you take me to the party?
I'll take you as far as I can.
Thomas arrived at Knapford Station and couldn't see the tuba player anywhere.
The tuba player is lost, and it's all my fault.
Thomas raced from station to station.
Must find him, must find him. Where could he be?
Bertie had dropped the tuba player off.
Bye-bye.
He called cheerfully,
Thank you.
said the tuba player, and he waited for another ride. He didn't have to wait long. Elizabeth the vintage truck pulled up.
I can take you as far as the flour mill.
Thank you.
Said the tuba player. He climbed onto Elizabeth's wagon, and he practiced his tuba as they chuffed down the lane. Thomas puffed faster and faster. Wherever was the tuba player? Thomas flew right across the level crossing. He didn't see Elizabeth waiting there, or the tuba player on her flatbed, and he didn't hear the tuba playing.
Where could the tuba player be?
Elizabeth took the tuba player all the way to the mill.
There you are, young man. Trevor will take you from here.
The tuba player thanked Elizabeth and climbed aboard Trevor. Trevor chugged slowly down the lane. Thomas kept on looking, but the island was very big, and the tuba was very small. Thomas looked behind freight cars. And called into coaches. He raced along the main line, tooting all the way, but it didn't help. Where was the tuba player? Thomas raced into the yard. Percy was coming the other way.
Whoa!
Thomas bumped straight into Percy, and the bunting flew up into the air. Percy's freight cars came off the track, and so did Thomas.
You've spilt my bunting.
I'll never find the tuba player now.
Harvey arrived to put Thomas back on the track.
How did you get into this mess?
I was looking for the tuba player.
Look and listen. If he's a tuba player, he might be playing his tuba.
So Thomas took his time, and he listened very carefully. Then he heard it, the sound of a tuba playing in the distance. Trevor was chugging happily down the lane. He was enjoying the tuba player's music. Thomas pulled up. He was pleased to see the tuba player.
I've been looking for you everywhere.
He puffed. With the tuba player safely on board, Thomas steamed off to Maithwaite as fast as he could. Thomas arrived at the party just in time. The band played beautifully. Lady Hat was very happy. It was the best birthday party ever. Thomas's whistle is broken. Which new whistle should Thomas choose? That doesn't sound like an engine whistle. Try another whistle, Thomas. Does that sound like an engine whistle? Let's listen again. That doesn't sound like an engine whistle either. There's one more whistle left. I wonder what this one sounds like. That sounds like a really good engine whistle. Well done, Thomas.
All aboard and close the doors. Whistle blows and the engine roars. Spinning wheels beginning to rip. These are the sounds as we start our trip. Rattling rails and cheerful chuss. Clattering carriages, huffs and puffs. With a whistle and a whoosh on the brakes. These are the sounds that the engines make. Chugga chugga. Chugga chugga. Chugga chugga. These are the sounds that the engines make. Happy hooves as the fields rush by. Shoveling coal and the time does fly. Proudly race full steam ahead. Screeching brakes when the lights go red. A wish of steam and clanking joints, shuddering floors and clattering points. With a whistle and a whoosh on the brakes. These are the sounds that the engines make. Chugga chugga. Chugga chugga. Chugga chugga. These are the sounds that the engines make. Chugga chugga. Chugga chugga. Chugga chugga. These are the sounds that the engines make.
Goods arrive night and day at the docks. Sometimes Henry and the other engines work so hard that their axles ache. Sir Topham Hatt brought in a new engine to help with the heavy workloads. He was long and had 10 drive wheels. He looked very strong.
This is Murdoch. He's going to be pulling trucks on the main line.
Ahoy, matey.
Shouted Salty.
Welcome, Murdoch.
Called Harvey.
You're the biggest engine I ever seen.
Cried Thomas.
You're a chatty lot.
Soon Murdoch was coupled to a long line of heavy freight cars. His boiler strained, his wheels started to turn, and the mighty engine chuffed away. Murdoch longed for some peace and quiet. But everywhere he went, it was noisy and crowded. At the end of the day, Murdoch was looking forward to a good night's rest, but Salty and Harvey were full of questions.
What's the longest train you've ever pulled?
Have you ever worked Marseille?
Have you ever crashed? Please, I want some peace and quiet, and I don't want to share a shed with chatterboxes. No need to be rude.
Hey, we're only being friendly, matey.
The next morning, Murdoch collected another long, heavy train. This time, he chuffed into the beautiful countryside. It was splendid. At last, he had some peace and quiet. Suddenly, his driver applied the brakes. There were sheep on the tracks.
The sheep escaped from the field through that broken fence.
The driver and the fireman tried to chase the sheep back. First this way, and then that way. They tried everything, but nothing worked.
We'll never move these sheep by ourselves,
complained the fireman.
I'll go phone for help,
sighed the driver. Murdoch was very unhappy. The noisy sheep were spoiling his peace and quiet. Sir Topham Hatt was enjoying afternoon tea when he got the call.
Sheep!
He exclaimed loudly.
I'll send Toby with the farmer immediately.
The sheep were becoming noisier and noisier.
Please stop. I'd rather be back with the Chatterbox engines.
Just then, Toby chuffed into view.
Toby, we're certainly glad to see you.
Before long, the farmer and his dog went to work and the sheep were soon safely in their field. And Murdoch was on his way again.
Thanks, Toby.
That evening, Murdoch parked between Harvey and Salty, but Murdoch spoke first.
I'm sorry that I was cross. I'm very pleased to share a shed with you.
And we're very pleased to have your company,
said Harvey.
Aye, we are,
added Salty.
It reminds me of a story.
Murdoch smiled. The sound of ba-ba would have kept him awake, but a salty story would send him happily to sleep. The island of Sodor can be a noisy place full of all sorts of sounds. What sounds can you hear from Knapford Station? That doesn't sound right. That's more like it. So what was making the other sound? Yes, a herd of cows. Here's Harold the helicopter. What sound does Harold make when he flies? That doesn't sound right. That's what Harold sounds like. So what makes the other sound? It's a horse. Of course. What sound does Thomas make? No, that's not it. Who's making that sound? A family of ducks. Now that's not a duck, or a horse, or a cow. It's one of our favorite sounds on the island of Sodor. It's Thomas. Hello, Thomas. It was winter. A thick blanket of snow lay over the island of Sodor. All the engines were busy carrying passengers and goods from station to station. Sometimes they need to warn people they are coming. So steam engines blow their whistles. And diesel engines sound their electric horns. One day, Percy took some troublesome trucks to the smelter's yard. He whistled hello to Ari and Bert. But Ari and Bert laughed.
Call that a whistle?
Mocked Bert.
Just listen to this. Diesels can do everything better than Staymace.
They sneered.
My whistle's as good as your horn. Just you wait and see.
Percy practiced loud whistling. He blew louder. And louder. And louder. At last he was ready to surprise Ari and Bert. Later, Percy went back to the quarry. He rolled up behind Ari and Bert, took an extra big puff, and blew as loudly as he could. Ari and Bert were surprised.
I told you my whistle was good as your silly old horns,
laughed Percy. Now that he had a super loud whistle, Percy couldn't wait to use it again. When he saw Thomas in the sidings, he took a big puff and blew as loud as he could. Thomas was cross.
That wasn't funny!
Percy didn't notice. He was too busy having fun. Percy saw Bertie the bus. He took another big puff and blew. Bertie skidded all over the road.
Percy! You nearly caused an accident.
But Percy had already chuffed away. That evening, Thomas told Percy to stop surprising his friends.
You made Bertie skid across the road and my freight cars got damaged.
Percy was sorry.
I won't do it again. I promise.
But the next day, Percy was bringing the milk train from the dairy.
I wish I could just have one more loud whistle,
he said to himself. He couldn't see any people or engines. But there was something else Percy couldn't see. Trevor was taking food to the farm animals. With snow on the ground, they couldn't find any grass to eat. Percy took the biggest puff of all and blew. Trevor was so surprised. His trailer bumped into a pile of logs. A log fell and rolled down the hill. Snow stuck to the log. It turned into a snowball. The snowball got bigger and bigger. Percy was enjoying himself. Until he saw the snowball.
Oh no! Oh no!
Luckily, no one was hurt, but his driver was cross.
I will have to go for help,
he said. Percy waited in the cold. His funnel was freezing and his axles were shivering. At last, Thomas arrived with Sir Topham Hatt. He was very cross indeed.
Whistles are for safety, not for playing games. You must only use your whistle when the time is right.
Yes, sir,
shivered Percy, and he promised to use his whistle properly from now on. The next day, Percy was a very quiet engine indeed. He didn't use his whistle once. But as Percy came out of the tunnel, he gasped. A big snowdrift had slipped onto the tracks. Percy heard Thomas. He was heading for the snowdrift. If he did not stop in time, he would have an accident.
I must warn him.
Percy took the biggest puff he had ever taken, and he blew the loudest whistle he had ever blown.
Something must be wrong,
cried Thomas, and he applied his brakes just in time.
Cinders and ashes. Thank you, Percy.
That evening, Sir Topham Hatt came to the sheds.
Well done, Percy. You blew your whistle at the right time and saved Thomas from an accident. You are a really useful engine, and a safe one.
Percy was so proud his firebox tingled. Percy uses his whistle safely now, and all his friends are glad to see him.
He's the cheeky one. James, his fame but lots of fun. Percy, pulls the mail on time. Gordon, thunders down the line. Emily, really knows her stuff. Henry, toots and puffs. Edward, wants to help and share. Toby, well let's say